morning everyone, thank you very much for joining me today for this tarot reading. But before I start, can I just say, please check out my new astrology. It's not going to be a channel yet, I'm going to keep it on this channel because I don't want to go back to giving my own thumbs up and I've got like 12 people looking. So I'm going to start off with a little bit, 10-minute snippets of astrology on this channel, and if it goes well then I can perhaps separate it later. It's basically if you want to learn anything about astrology, or it's just a 10-minute snippet of somebody's chart. And I know this person's chart already, but I will be doing people who I don't know. My daughter and my sister basically give me charts with no names on and I read them. The person you will see in this first reading, I do know their name because I had to redo it because I lost it. So, but anyway, check it out and see what you think. Today's reading is going to be what sort of partner do I attract? So you've got 3 piles as usual for your tarot reading, pile number 1, pile number 2 and pile number 3. So let's find out who's after you, who fancies you, who do you attract? Okay, off you go, you can take your time.
La música de Harry Fraud.
I'm going to start there. I was going to put more cards out, but I won't as yet. This initial pile of cards is basically who they are. And then we're going to go a little bit further. I was going to put like a row here for the 5th house, so that's basically how they relate in love relationships early on in the relationship, and the 7th house with basically how they turn up in long-term relationships. So let's just go with how you may recognize this person or these people that basically attracted to you. Now you have got Neptune and you have got the 5 of Pentacles. So this to me makes me think of somebody who has quite wavery self-esteem, somebody who's quite soft and self-depreciating, but also could be a little bit slippy with regards to how they handle themselves in times of crisis. They may, when the chips are down, almost retreat into basically a really sort of, I'm going to say feeling sorry for themselves, but it's more a case of not feeling worthy than feeling sorry for yourself. Neptune can be quite feeling sorry for yourself. They do enjoy, people with strong Neptune, a good deal of wallowing in self-pity. Great fun. But with the 5 of Pentacles, to me it's a little bit harder than that. It's more a case of just not feeling worthy. Now, it's not that straightforward because you also have the Mars in Leo egotism card here. So I wonder whether your person puts on, or the people that are attracted to you put on a really good show of looking confident, feeling confident, but if they're shunned or shut out in any way, then there's going to be a big backlash, and it's going to be tears and holding themselves back to make sure that they don't feel too vulnerable. So you probably attract people who are quite, on the surface, quite outgoing, quite egotistical, they stand quite straight. They just seem quite, if it's a man, quite masculine. If it's a woman, it's just somebody who's quite assertive and just very self-assured in some way. But deep down inside them, there's a wavering self-esteem here. There's a wavering feeling of not feeling accepted in many situations or good enough in many situations, but you may not know that until you're quite close to them. Right, who else do you attract? Somebody, I think, with Neptune and with the 10 of Cups here, to me they're quite idealistic cards. It's somebody who has a real yearning. It will be interesting to see this person's 7th house, a real yearning to be in love, a real yearning to give themselves to other people, and a real yearning to have a family or an established relationship. But once again, with the Hermit down here, is making me think Virgo-y. I do think your person possibly could be a real combination, flipping heck, a real combination of bravado that hides a almost introverted feeling of not quite feeling enough. And I wonder whether they have to pull out of situations to get their ego back on track at times. To me, with this card down here, the Two of Swords, does make me think of somebody who pulls themselves out of a situation too early just to basically stop their heart from being broken or themselves being hurt. There's a softness here, there's a lack of self-esteem, there's a lack of self-worth, and there's a bravado with this pile. So, I'm going to put a positive spin on that because that sounds hard work. Are you ready for this positive spin? Your person comes across as really, the people that are attracted to you come across as very confident. They probably come across as being very much in charge of themselves, but in deep down there's a real softness there and there's a real need to be accepted. They're probably somebody who is very aware of when a situation feels tense or they feel like their self-esteem is on basically rocky ground. They will pull out, but to be honest, what this person really wants and really needs is a real soft, long-term loving relationship, and that's what they yearn for, but there's something that keeps them slightly back. Right, let's have a look at this person's fifth house. Yeah. This person is very good at communicating what they want, which would go very well with this Mars in Aries. They're probably quite forthright, they're probably quite verbal in what they actually desire. It's somebody who could come up and talk to you and tell you that they find you attractive, because this person loves falling in love. But there is the Six of Swords here. There's a real feeling of needing to heal through relationships, because you probably draw people towards you who feel that you may be the stronger partner and you may be able to help them get over their feelings of not feeling quite good enough for you. The Two of Cups in the fifth house to me is just somebody who is in love with being in love, but there's a vulnerability there that sometimes may hold them back. So you've got a real mixture here, because I wonder whether at the beginning of relationships you often feel like this person's really confident, because there's like this Neptune here with this Two of Cups is almost like a Venus-Neptune contact of feeling like it's like rose-tinted glasses. It's basically somebody, it's like fantasy island love. This person probably falls into relationships very quickly, falls in love very quickly, and is like they find that ideal and they think this is it. And then as you go down the track, that things start to seep into relationships and you think, oh, actually no, he or she is just basically backed out of this, or they're not quite there or solid as they appear initially. There's vulnerabilities inside them that they know they want to heal, and I think they want to do that through relationships. But you don't get that at the beginning, because you're getting Mars and Leo, Two of Cups, Ace of Swords at the beginning. Beautiful communication, very good at connecting, wanting to be in love, thinking that they found the correct partner straight away, which they have in their eyes, they have. And then this is when the healing kicks in. And I'm not saying it's like, this sounds quite negative. I'm not saying that it's negative as in it splits you apart. All relationships are the same. It's then that you basically, after the initial stages of going boomf, being in love, it's like you start to see their vulnerabilities. That's all I'm saying. I don't think many people see their vulnerabilities. They may think they're soft and they may think that they're self-depreciating at times, but I think your person probably comes across as being quite confident, or you're the people that are drawn to you. I just think that you learn their vulnerabilities after you get to know them a little bit more. Right then. I think this person likes to maintain their sense of Neptune, their sense of illusion, their sense of fantasizing all the way through a relationship. So I'm wondering whether when this person gets married, it will be somebody who would like to have a big wedding. They would like to wear a big dress, or for you to wear a big dress. There's a real sort of romantic quality about this person. Mentally, they just want everything to be fine. They're quite straight in the way that they think and the things that they want. So they probably will communicate this extremely well. In long-term relationships, this person wants somebody they can connect with, and it's not just on a heartfelt level. They want somebody to connect with mentally as well, because you have got the Prince of Swords here, you've got the Ace of Swords here in the way that they communicate initially, and you end up with the Justice card here for a long-term relationship, which is marrying up, and marrying up with 7th house, their heart and their head. So this person wants somebody who's quite cerebral as well as quite romantic. And it sounds really confusing, but we are all this, aren't we? We're all confusing. We're all a mixture of things. So to sum up you up, pile number 1, which isn't something you were told, but the type of person that falls for you is somebody who comes across as very confident initially, and then has a real soft, squidgy innards that they can suffer from low self-worth at times. I don't think you get to know this until you've started to get a little bit deeper into the relationships. I think when you start seeing this vulnerability is when they feel as if you're pulling away, and that's when they start, I would say, actually going inwards a bit. It's not somebody who comes out, although you have Mars and Leo here, I don't think it's somebody that comes out in full-on verbal arguments. I mean, it will happen with this here, but it's somebody, I think, who basically kicks themselves inside. Feels like, oh my God, I'm feeling vulnerable, I'm going to make myself scarce before this person hurts me. I get all the way through this pile, is quite a romantic pile, and this person loves falling in love. They're probably extremely good at communicating in the initial stages, but there's still that air of vulnerability here with the 6 of Swords. This person is a bit of a dreamer and a bit of a romantic, but in long-term relationships, they need that to be alongside a real mental connection. This person will want to keep talking to you even if they've been with you, or these people. I don't know whether you've got a lot of air in your chart, because I guess you draw people towards you who are very into being able to express ideas, talk about books, communicate openly. In some way there's got to be a mental connection there. Some people don't need it. Aries people, if you had Aries all through your chart, you want somebody to move with you, you want somebody to be exciting. You're not that asked if you can't speak to them. Really, it's not the main thing in a relationship, but when nobody has Aries all the way through them. Romantic, long-term romantic, this person, and wants to have that romantic feel. And that people feel carry on throughout the whole relationship. So that's the type of person you draw towards you. I'm saying watery and mental at the same time. So there's a romantic quality with an air of vulnerability. There's a mental quality with a need to connect. Okay, pile number 1. I hope that makes sense to you. And I didn't really mean that about Aries people. There's lots of Aries in my family, and all the people I know that have lots of Aries, they just want movement. They want to keep moving. They want life to be exciting and fun. They're not too bothered if there's a huge spat of Aries in their chart of sitting down having lovely conversations over a fire, a fireplace, not over a fire, in front of a fireplace. But I'm going to stop there because I'm rambling. Thank you very much, pile number 1. I hope that makes sense to you. Please let me know. And thank you. Bye. Okay, pile number 2. Right, what sort of partner do you attract? I think you attract people who are quite watery in some ways. They're probably quite intuitive. They're probably quite emotional in some ways. They probably like beauty. They could be quite creative. And I also think you possibly attract people who are a little bit more, I'm not going to say introverted, but a little bit more adverse to social interaction than you. They may be shyer than you, because the first two cards you've got out here, the Eight of Swords, which to me is it's feeling mentally tied in, as if you can't move forward, but basically you've roped yourself in with your own thoughts and feelings. And Neptune as well, feelings. Again, that one wasn't feelings. Anyway, Neptune is a soft planet. It's the planet of illusions. It's the planet of beauty. It's the planet of things you can't quite grasp. So I wonder whether this person, all these people that are attracted to you, may be more emotionally vulnerable and could actually, this quite sounds quite negative, but could suffer a little bit from shyness or not feeling like they are as adept at social situations as you are. Because you've also got with this as well, you've got Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer is once again a very soft planet. Oh my God, that's not a planet. Venus is a planet. Cancer is not a planet. But with Neptune, Venus in Cancer is soft, it's sweet, it's the love of beauty and children, creativity and softness and gentleness. So your person, I think, or the people that come towards you, are generally quite watery, quite sweet, quite soft, and may actually overthink things or overfeel things and suffer from some sort of, I keep thinking social anxiety here. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is I think that you may be the person that initiates the conversation. You may be the more forthright person. This person may take your lead. So the people that are attracted towards you are probably people attracted towards you because you probably come out quite confident or quite assertive or quite fun-loving, and they may be more emotional and look at you and towards you to how to basically what to do next. So you may actually be the more dominant partner in a lot of these people that are pulled towards you. I'm not saying you have relationships with these people, but this is maybe the type of person that you just draw. I do think deep down there's a lot of Venus in this. There's a lot of balance and beauty and softness, and I keep saying the same things over and over again. I think this person is somebody who quite likes the thought of having a family. They may be the type of person that's drawn towards you, may be somebody who could fall into having a family quite early, because Venus in Cancer with the Ten of Cups here and the Neptune again, the Justice here, is just somebody who falls in love easily, is very romantic, likes the thought of having children, Cancer, and just likes the thought of having a close-knit family. This isn't somebody who likes to play the field. These people that are drawn towards you like kids. I wonder if you give off that really sort of wholesome feel where people think that you make a good husband or a good wife. And I don't mean that in a really negative way, because I mean it in a positive way. You just come across as a good, stable, steady partner, and you're a bit like a magnet. You know, people that are drawn towards you, very watery, and think that you could provide the ideal relationship, the ideal partnership, the ideal person to bring a family up with. It's stability and nurturing quality here. The Eight of Swords, though, is the only bit here, and because the cards are bigger, to me it seems more prominent, and it's not. But it's the only card here that somehow with the Page of Swords here, there's something to do with verbal communication that this person might find quite difficult. They feel quite easily, they express themselves probably emotionally quite well, but when it comes down to everyday banter, conversation, social situations, I wonder whether they will always put you in the forefront and make you do the main hall of the communication. Right, let's have a look at their fifth house. So these people that are attracted to you, how are they initially in the early stages of a relationship? How do they come across? Right, this person's romantic. The people that are pulled towards you because I think they think that you're quite romantic. I don't know whether it's the way that you look or the way that you act. You could have a softness about you and a beauty about you that makes people just feel at home, as if they can reveal their inner soul to you. But I think that you pull people who are quite practical towards you, who basically a little more steady, possibly a little bit more steady than you. But I do think there's something about them that is almost as if they can handle life in short periods and then they retreat. You know, there's something to do here with softness and communicating and the way that their mind processes work. And I don't think they're quite as robust as you. They're quite practical, so they can sort it out and function in everyday life, but it's almost like a function dysfunction. It's almost as if you have to take the lead, you have to take the pull in grabbing them out, pulling them out into social, you know, like going out to a party or initiating conversation. I think that you have to be the dominant partner with a lot of people that you draw towards you. But they're very romantic people, and they're drawn to you, I think, for some reason that you have a nurturing quality, almost an ideal. So sorry, my mum. Oh my god. I thought I was saying then. I'll try and cut that out if I don't. That was my mum. Okay, well, I have to remember what I was saying. You basically pull people towards you who fall in love with you because you appear soft and you feel like the ideal partner to get married to settle down to. You're not going to hurt anybody, and they can basically sense that from you. But they also think, I think from this, that you can offer them some healing, because I think that you come across as far more confident in social situations. They want to work with you, they have a real romantic quality, and they're the type of person that will put the effort in to having a relationship with you. So I don't know whether the people that you draw towards you, whether you have to do the main instigating, keeping it together. You know, you could possibly be you could possibly draw less dominant people towards you. Again, real mixture in long-term relationships. Once again, there's this real romantic nurturing quality of somebody that loves to fall in love, somebody that wants the ideal partner. This is very similar to pile number one. Somebody who likes a connection and he basically dreams about it. And I said with pile number one, it's a type of person that likes a big marriage, you know, a big wedding, because it's that romantic air and that's what should be done. But there's also an element with the people that you draw towards you of you still giving more and them not giving enough. I wonder whether you pull people towards you where you always have to give that little bit more. Romantic people, soft people, but it always ends up with you having to keep everything moving all the time. I don't know. Right, I'm going to sum this pile up. The people that you pull towards you, who are attracted to you, are people who are quite soft, run quite on their emotions, quite gentle, but probably extremely good when you need looking after or when you've got children, and they're very good with children. They may be very good at reading what's going on inside you. So very empathic, is that the correct word? A real emotional connection there, but there's something to do with some vulnerability to do with communication here, and I think that's probably why you draw them towards you, because I wonder whether you're very good or very confident in the way that you come across in social situations. And this person or these people are looking for balance, and they're looking at you to basically to balance that. They're hoping that by being with you, your confidence will rub off on them. I think you do pull romantic people towards you. It makes me think that you may have a quality about you which is quite soft. And so people see you as being very romantic and they're pulled towards you for that reason, because I think that's what they're going to get from you. But I think you also pull people towards you who are more practical as well. So there's a mixture of like air and earth here. So they will put the effort into a relationship, but they always hold something back, I think. Do you you know what it makes me think here? It's a softness that you have about you that sucks people towards you, and they basically replicate that softness. So they are the same as you, and there's a real sort of beauty and gentle air about the pair of you as a relationship. And then it makes me think that you struggle with them not giving you enough, them actually holding back a bit, because you're basically foiled by this softness and this giving. But when they're in a relationship, there's probably a little bit of a cool quality about them as well, and then that might be something that you struggle with. There's a real romantic air, but there's a real air of holding back and coolness, and I think pile number 1 was the same. A little bit of social anxiety with the people that you draw towards you, because I think they think by being with you, you're going to pull them out of it. Right, I'm going to finish there, pile number 2. And I'm really sorry that isn't quite as hunting and sexy as I'd like it to be, but that's what I've got for the moment. So that's maybe part of it. Just take the bits that resonate, and thank you very much for listening. Right then, pile number 3. Okay, I haven't really thought about this, so I'm just going to go for it. The people that you draw towards you, the people that fall in love with you, the people that are attracted to you are a real mixture. More than any of the other 2 piles, they are a real mixture of 2 totally different qualities. Why have I said that? Okay. The reason I've said that is, you've got the Magician here. The Magician card to me was probably, these 2 hit me as the strongest, to be honest. The Magician card is quite masculine. It's very good at manipulating things and making a stamp in their environment or whatever they're creating in their life. They're very good at having lots of skills and making sure that they work for themselves. So that's quite a masculine quality, and I don't mean as in like sex, but I mean as in energy. They push out and they make sure that everything works. So it's a very forthright, forward-moving energy. But you've got that next to the High Priestess. The High Priestess is very soft and feminine and pulls things towards it. But these two cards together both manipulate qualities. In my mind, they both take energy. One sucks it in like a hoover, one pushes it out. But both of them, in the process, they integrate it into themselves. And then to go with that as well, you've got the Sun here, and the Sun is so expansive. It basically gives out, makes everything warm, makes everything grow. Everything rotates around the Sun. So the people that you pull towards you are big characters, but they have a real masculine and feminine. I don't know whether it's balanced or imbalanced yet, to be honest. And then once again, you've got the Sun, which is nothing more expansive than the Sun, and then you've got that opposite, which is, opposite Leo is Aquarius. Once again, it's that 2 very different aspects. It's giving, it's warm, it's outgoing, and then it's detached. Okay. Look, pile 3. I'm going to have to say this really honestly. The last 2 piles, I was really trying to make positive, and I couldn't. So I'm going to try really hard with this one. But here you go. So this is where I'm trying to struggle with it, to be honest. You've got the Magician and the High Priestess, both qualities that manipulate energy. One's outward, more masculine, one's inward, more feminine. So pushing and pulling here. Then you've got the Sun, expansive, giving out, and then that has got Venus in Uranus, which is basically one giving out, one taking away. And then you have these 2 qualities here. The 7 of Swords is something being taken away quite sneakily, and especially with this card, it's somebody that's snuck into the nest, something that's snuck into the nest and is running off with the egg. The 6 of Swords to me is healing. So, to me, the people that are drawn towards you always have 2 different sides to them. And I don't know whether you get the more outgoing side first, and then you basically feel like you've been ripped off later on down the pile by something that has been not shown quite clearly. So I don't know whether this person comes across as the Magician and the Sun. So the only way I can try and interpret this pile, because I think they hold both masculine and feminine qualities to the extreme inside themselves. So I don't know if these people come across as the magician and the sun, where they are extremely good with words, extremely good with their everyday life. They live their life, it looks like it's functioning really well. They are warm and they are outgiving. And then I wonder whether later in the relationship, you see these qualities actually transforming into more feminine qualities. And I wonder whether you think actually later on, hold on, that's not who you came across initially. The Seven of Swords is something that's been almost, not underhand because that's a negative, but it's something you haven't seen coming. The Six of Swords is almost like healing as well. So I wonder whether you're drawn towards people that come off initially as one thing and then evolve into something quite different as the relationship progresses. Let me keep going. We're going to go into the 5th house now. So we're going a little bit more into relationships that you may possibly have had, or how people relate to you in the initial stages when you basically fall in love. What is the basic pattern? People that are drawn towards you. What type of people do you attract? Okay, I think your cards are fascinating because you're coming across as attracting people that are two different people in one. And then as the initial stages of the relationship develop, there's the attraction, there's the, everything is all show, and they're very good at attracting people towards them. And then it's almost as if when the relationship starts developing, they give out less. And then it's boom, it's almost as if there's a shot or a flip in the relationship. I'm going to go right to the end of the pile with you because your pile is really interesting. I'm not going to deal my cards like that. So let's just go into a longer term relationship to see how things develop. This type of person that's drawn towards you, or the type of relationship you find yourself in, you know what I thought. This last row here is your 7th house, which is, I haven't got my head in this all the way through. I don't want you to see my unkempt hair. Ace of Swords. So it makes me think that this person bear with me a moment. So they are the relationship, two different people, and they. Yeah, I wonder whether your person is somebody that pushes people. Do you know, like you get Sagittarius energy, and Sagittarius are brought into this world to try people. They push and they push, and they make you aware. It's a real. I'm going to say something which might be totally interesting to you, but if ever you take MSM, it's a sulfur in it, and I think. Sagittarius people just run on sulfur, and if you take it, it's a bit like you feel like the big man, and Sagittarius tend to feel very confident, and they're very good at rolling. They're like big puppies that roll with life, and what they do is they push you until you either learn how to cope with yourself, or you basically learn how to cope with the situation. So all the different people in the charts, they push, and this gives them, excuse me, I made that up. All the different people in different, oh for God's crying out loud, I was trying to say everybody has their own place and we all help each other in different ways, and Sagittarius is a very forward moving energy that pulls the best out of people, and it makes you use your higher mind because they just put you into difficult situations so that you can grow. You can leave it there. This person, I think, or these people that are drawn towards you, you draw people that test you. I think you draw people that push you a little bit. And I wonder whether that's just something you do in relationships, whether you draw people towards you that push you a bit to bring the best out of yourself, which may not feel very comfortable at that time. It's almost when you're in a long-term relationship, if you get past the initial stages of flirting and falling in love, it's only then that you realise the part that this person has played in your life, or after the relationship is over possibly, or when it's more established, it doesn't really matter. That's when you stop and you look back and you think, actually, I'm a better person for being with this person, even though some of the stages were quite difficult at the time. Because you've got the Hangman. This is your past, the 7th house. So this is long-term relationships. You've got the Ace of Swords, and to me that's like a clarity and a mental awakening. You've got the Hangman, which is basically reflecting and looking back at what's happened, and you've got the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords here makes me think of being stuck or anxiety, but that's the time when you have time to reflect on all these mental processes that have gone on in your relationship. So to sum you up, pile number 3, the type of people that fall for you are a combination of two very extreme qualities. They can flip between being very masculine and assertive and very feminine and reflective and pulling things towards them. But I think what they have in common with all of this is an ability to twist in a positive way to move life and how they want things. They're very good at creating. They're very good at creating life, whether it comes from a more feminine place where it's basically pulling towards it and then manipulating it inside themselves, or basically pushing it out and manipulating things in the outside world. The 7 of Swords to me is this person can do anything with themselves. So I think there's a confidence there and there's an ability to make things move in life. They probably do it automatically, they don't know. There's a detachment and a healing quality about the people that basically fall for you. So they could be like helpers or healers in some way, and that's probably why they're. Do you know what it makes me think of? People, and this is a personality rather than a scenario. People that work in special schools for children that need extra help. It's that sort of ability to have the confidence to take situations forward, but also have that sort of feminine, and I mean that in a broader sense, quality to know how to care for people. And then they give out in a more detached way, and they heal people in a detached way. This is a real pushy try pile. It does make me think Sagittarius here, even though you've got Leo. And I don't mean Sagittarius, sun, moon or anything. It's just that quality of pushing life to the limits. So when you fall for this person, it's almost as if they're trying and pushing you all the way. You fall in love with this person. They woo you, they draw you towards them, and then they hold off. And then it's almost as if the relationship goes through stops and starts, stops and heartbreak starts, and stops and starts. So I think this, out of all the piles, is probably the people that you draw towards you are the most trying. I wonder whether you have in your astrology chart lots of hard aspects where you're very good at being in relationships that push you, and that's how you grow, because you quite like the challenge even though it doesn't feel comfortable at the time. And then long-term relationships, when you eventually settle down with somebody, it's then that you realise basically the part that they played in your life and where you are now. That's when the clarity comes, and that's when the reflection comes, and that's when you understand, even through the bits that were hard, how you have grown. Crikey. Pile number 3, I'm really sorry if that's really hard. I just basically go a bit blank and just read the cards and forget. I do actually want it to make you feel good, because I think we've got more to give when we feel good. I just had to read it, and I'm sorry if that feels a bit too intense. Okay, right, pile number 3. I'm going to finish there. If it made any sense to you, please let me know, and I hope you have a really nice week, I suppose, by the time this gets out, and thank you very much for watching, and bye.